Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Kickpoint, the Golf Gear Show. Joe, live from the Cottages at number 8 at Pinehurst. Didn't think I'd be saying that 18 months ago or so when we started this. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm beaten up. Been beaten up by the golf. It's not been pleasant. Well, no, it's been really pleasant.
Be grateful now.
But it's not been my finest display of golf over the last couple of days. But if you're going to do it anywhere, the idyllic surroundings of Pinehurst are enough to take your mind off some pretty appalling play. It's been absolutely. This is bucket list stuff.
Yeah,
Genuinely is. We're
is.
very, very lucky. I know we've been flippant about it as we've been slapping it around in the trees.
Sweet for yourself.
Yeah, good point. You were straighter than me today, weren't you? But yeah, I mean, not just the courses. So update, we played number 2, which was amazing. There'll be a vlog on that. I'd implore you not to watch that because that's
Spoiler alert.
Hugely embarrassing for me. And we played number 10 today. How cool was that, by the way?
Pretty special spot. We'll get on to more of this. We'll delve in a minute. I just want to tell everyone what's coming up this week.
Okay,
Because
you like to do that, don't you?
I do like to do that, just give people a bit of context of what's coming up. So, Finch, who we've been staying with here at the Cottages, who's out here as well with Golf Pride on
told
this
us
trip.
a very peculiar joke last night, didn't he? Which I'm still struggling to get
we
my head around.
We might have to delve down into that later.
Get him on for a guest spot, and you can record
comedy
his
hour.
gag.
We've got a couple of good jokes as well. We could do a comedy hour at Kickpoint.
Can't do that.
No, okay, fine. He's coming up for What's in the Bag special. Joe, you caught up with him at the range where we played today, and as a former reviewer of clubs, he's a good mind to speak to, and he came with some really good points, didn't he? So we'll look forward to that. We're going to catch you up on our time here at Pinehurst, what we've been up to, playing number 2, playing number 10 this space.
Didn't we just do that?
I thought we could do a bit more.
I'll flesh it out.
Yeah. And then we've got 3 or 4 Asteropods to go through today because they've been coming in thick and fast, and we want to get through them. So thank you for that.
By the way, is lovely, isn't it? It's so cool to see
It's
the
all going
burgeoning
upwards, isn't it?
inbox all the time.
Yeah.
You have to get through a lot more, don't you?
And the YouTube comments, man, they're flying in, and they're all really genuinely interesting for us.
And
it's a space for us we can all do this.
Yeah, and we do our best to get back to as many as possible because we like. I know it's a bit. Does it sound a bit fluffy? But it's like it feels like a little community brewing. It is.
We do. Absolutely.
Like
so thank you for all of them, and we'll endeavour to get onto a few of them today. Right then, Joe. Let's do. I know this isn't very equipment-y. Sorry, everybody. Hopefully, you're long enough for the ride now to want to hear about our time here at Pinehurst. It's both of our first experiences here. You played number 2 yesterday, Joe. Like I said, the vlog's coming out. We want to give people a sort of.
No.
Don't know what happened.
No,
but
don't.
Just how did you feel? I filmed you going around it. It was a privilege to walk it. How was it to play such a historic course?
Yeah, just like I said, bucket list stuff. The whole setup was. When we arrived, we had a chat this morning from when we played number 10. The chairman or the president of the whole Pinehurst resort, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was sort of saying how he loves number 2 as a clubhouse and a setup because it's just a hub. It's busy. It's bustling. It's so atmospheric there. Like we went on the putting green, didn't we? And there was a group of sort of. Sorry, ladies, if you're listening, middle-aged ladies having a get-together, having a festive putt, and then off for some hot chocolates inside.
It's because Pinehurst and Pinehurst Village is a place. There's 10 golf courses here. The resort. It feels like the whole village gets stuck in. Everyone who lives in this area plays golf in some form, whether it's doing the putting of the afternoon, which we can show some B-roll of, which is quite fun, or going and playing a championship US Open golf course.
Do you reckon we'll feature facially on this podcast at all? Because we've got so much B-roll. Do we just overlay it?
We just cover it in B-roll.
But yeah, there was that. There was families everywhere. And he said, like, if you want to go and like steep yourself in history and dress up in +4s like Payne Stewart and go and play number 2 as a tribute, you've got that, the real history and heritage there. If you then want to go and get tanked up and play the Cradle.
We played the Cradle. Great little par 3 course with a big old train blasting music next to it.
And which was a little uncomfortably close to the right fringe off the first, wasn't it?
Yeah, go get lashed and play the Cradle in some flip-flops. It really does have everything here, and as all American resorts are, but this one especially, everything's done perfectly and very big and very grand. Plenty of money knocking around here.
No corners cut.
They nailed it. How about where we're staying behind us? So if you're watching this now on YouTube, you can see behind us the Cottages, and we're staying on the number 8 complex. Brand new, I think, within the last couple of months. This experience people can come and pay. I think you get 2 nights here and then unlimited golf on the resort.
Okay.
Yeah, or 2-night minimum. It's kind of these packages you can build. That's effectively what we're doing here. Some setup as well.
If you're looking for a high-end golf trip, but you can get a lot of people in. What have we got in ours? 8 bedrooms.
8 bedrooms with 2 queen beds in each, or king beds in.
plus pool table,
You can
plus
sleep on that. You
balconies.
can put one on that. Put one on the
Yeah,
sofa.
put your least
Probably
popular
pile
mate.
25 in there.
Yes, which I'd imagine if you are splitting those costs,
You'd need.
I feel like it could end up being value for money. But yeah, just it's absolutely astonishing place, and it's really cool to film outside now with the lights going down, fire pit that we can't work.
Yeah, actually, for those listening, I think we haven't even given enough context to where we are. But outside the cottages here is a putting green, a sort of, I'd call that a bandstand over there. We'd have to get B-roll of that because you won't be in shot.
Sure.
And we're sat in front of a fire that's not going, chatting away. There's someone who emailed us in the other week, I think his name's Stephen, I hope it is, who lives in the area, who might, if you're listening, Stephen, be able to give us more insight into that sort of village nature of Pinehurst. That it's like St Andrews. It's the St Andrews of America, where you don't even have to play golf if you're just sort of wandering around.
Well, the restaurant we turned up to last night, Elliot's, we walked in, there was a buggy parked outside with 2 sets of clubs on the back about 8:30. Like, how long have they been in there? It's pitch black for 4 hours.
From number 2 and get lashed in Elliot's.
Yeah, but that's what a life, what a way to be. But like, without keeping it back to equipment, don't forget the Golf Pride stuff. So Golf Pride grips have their global HQ on site here, don't they? Just quarter of a mile that way. So we've done a lot of content. We're going to do a separate pod, very grip centric about that, which sounds flat, but you know how I love a grip.
You're going to make it not flat. I know you are.
I am going to make it.
You're a passionate man
because there's so much I didn't know. So many cool old grips knocking around. The processes of how they're done, what difference it makes, the research, the new performance lab. I really enjoyed that day. That was big for me.
So that pod's coming out in March because we've got a few embargoes to wait for. So one to look forward to. Put that in your diaries.
Put that in your diaries, everyone. You said to me when we were coming back here, one of your highlights, the Hall of Fame.
So the USGA have their
which again is equipment based because there's a lot of equipment in there.
That is equipment based. Let's talk about that. I'd forgotten about that. Well done. So the Hall of Fame's here, which I love. I love a bit of history, and the Hall of Fame is brilliant because every inductee gets effectively what is like a locker space. It's like behind perspex glass you can see it in. So, and they donate things. So it's often clubs, tour bags, some very other strange items. Colin Montgomery had a cricket bat in there. Bernard Langer gave a football. I think the player who's entered gives to the Hall of Fame what they'd like to be in there. And there were some odd choices.
There was some odd choices. Annika Sorenstam chucked her old passport in there, which is peculiar.
Do you think she mixed up the box to go to the Hall of Fame with the bin?
With the dump, yeah, possibly. Don't say that. Makes her locker sound terrible. But no, there were some nice clubs in there. Mickelson had a random toy aeroplane in his. Not sure the context of that.
And we saw Nick Faldo's bag and actually put on our story a few weeks ago by the time we listen to this, of the F wedge, which we haven't quite got down to the bottom to.
Well,
I'll show a picture of that now if you're watching. Did we have an answer?
I believe. Well, we didn't have a definitive answer, but a lot of our watchers, viewers, listeners, what do you call them?
People?
Pointies. A lot of our pointers, just going around pointed at people, said fairway wedge. Well, it was that or flop wedge, and I didn't think it was a flop wedge.
Flop. Anyway, we'll put a picture up if you know what it is. Get in the comments. We need a definitive answer on that. So you love the Hall of Fame, and then the USGA off of the USGA conforming list.
Which, by the way, as we're walking in, you sort of said to me, "Hang on, so this is the conforming where they do all the conforming pictures from?" I was like, "Yeah." I quite clearly said that on the itinerary.
We got to go there. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, there was one interesting bit that came up for me from there.
Just the one.
Yeah. No, there was several interesting bits. So we looked at driver testing, the CT testing, how they measure grooves for conformity, how they measure balls for velocity and spin rates and all that kind of stuff, and making them conforming. There was one massive ball I picked up.
Did you like the big ball?
Like the big ball. It's like a baseball, wasn't it? Didn't feel like
which
it
is
work.
legal because there's no legal size. Big wise.
Yeah.
Size. Large wise.
Yeah, good, Dan. And then the other bit for me was, what was the bit I was going to say? Oh, the sort of ambiguous rule around what makes a club conforming, because the wording was something like, it has to look traditional, and there was another word in there. Look it up in the rule book about what this is, because one of the boys picked up the Happy Gilmore hockey stick putter and said, well, why is this not conforming? It's got a face, there's no additional ball speed. It's big, but it's got, the triangle looks pretty similar. It's a fairly conventional length. And the guy was like, because it has to look like a traditional golf club. And I was like, where's the boundaries from that? Because then we picked up another one.
That's so subjective, that.
Yeah, we picked up another one, which was like an old wooden thing, which essentially the same, slightly smaller in proportions, but the same kind of feel as a hockey stick. Went straight from the shaft into the head, long sort of blade length. And for me, I was just like, that's strange, isn't it? When you look at something so precise, when they're measuring everything to the tenth of a millimetre and conformity of velocity and stuff like that. And one of the rules is, it's just got to look like a club.
Yeah, and that was the only reason that club wasn't conforming.
Yeah.
It wasn't some lie angle issue or face length issue. He went, it's only because of the way it looks. And I'm like, you guys are working on such fine margins here and then you to go, a couple of guys in a room, effectively, which is what's going on there. To go, doesn't look close enough to me, let's unconform it.
Did they go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have to agree.
Yeah.
On a subjective term, which is, does it look like a traditional golf club?
Yeah, and
How did the lab DF?
Well, I said that to you at the time, didn't I?
Like
DF 2.1, massive spaceship looking thing. There's nothing traditional about that. So how that's got through over the Happy Gilmore hockey stick, I'm still not sure. And we sort of pressed for an answer on that, and you just sort of like, meh.
Don't mind it. Listen, that's fine. Another one we got a bit of a don't know on, which is, you know how on the USGA conforming list all the pictures are black and white, and we think that was
got an irritable nose bit there, Dan.
It's fine. We'll just cut to my camera for that part.
Good.
Oh.
Just while you're doing that, I wanted to big shout out to Jake and Georgie. We've dragged out essentially in the middle of the night in the freezing cold to set up an NBC.
It could be
style
4 in the morning.
studio.
Nobody would know. I'll tell you why GMS at 8. Were you Agency of the Year? Is that what you guys won? Yeah, I have to tell you why.
This is
people
why.
like these.
This
two,
is why.
These two here. Yes, the black and white images on the USGA conforming list. When we always see them, we're like, not a great look for the brands because it looks a bit crap, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's often the first image we see of a new driver. And you asked the man.
I asked a lot of questions, didn't I?
You're good at that.
I was that guy,
and
wasn't
there
I?
was no answer.
No, it's just like, well, you know.
It's always been done.
He started to try for an answer, and then he just went, well, we just have always done that, and there's no real reason behind it. And I thought there might be some sort of agreement within manufacturers whereby the manufacturers wanted to keep their colourways, sure, you can tell us the text, right? But keep the colourway because we've gone for a new. I thought there might be some sort of agreement between the manufacturers, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I'll tell you what else from that place that stuck in my mind. I think they said they had 764 submissions last year. That doesn't feel like a lot in golf, in the world global golf
I
history.
wrote it down.
Okay, I'm sure it was 700.
5,000.
Nah, it was 700. You've lost the plot. Yeah, I remember when he said it, I was like, no chance. Absolutely
Whittle
no
on
chance.
for a minute while I get my notes app open.
We'll put a bit of B-roll in now.
Do you remember the sort of hall? They've got a bunch of toys, effectively.
That's what I was just about to get to. Yeah, if you stop interrupting. They always say that in the YouTube comments. Dan interrupts.
There's one man who says that.
He's done it.
You know what? Maybe he's right.
Yeah, I think he is right. But yeah, so they had this.
Did you see earlier that?
See, he's just gone again there, everybody.
It was a joke.
Oh, right. So just as you went in the main test centre area on the right hand side, they've got this kind of wall of shame of some of the funniest submissions they've had that haven't gone through, and a couple of famous ones. They had like a P7TW Tiger's Blade. That was obviously the first time when that had been submitted for testing. I assume these manufacturers know they're all going to get through, but it's just a bit of, you have to box tick that exercise. But there was a Bryson iron, his new LA Golf iron, that still actually isn't even in the bag. That was there, which was familiar for me, having used that in a tournament before.
Yeah,
or
done that, mate.
Completed it, mate. I told him, didn't I?
The two-handled putter?
The two-handled putter. There was a putter that was about 7'2", wasn't there, with like a reverse head going in. There was one
had water, with some sort of liquid in it.
Yeah, it was a Jack Daniels putter head filled with JD. That was peculiar. There was one putter that had like an axis and just sort of you held the frame and it sort of swung itself in a sort of Sam Snead side saddle way. So there's a lot of wackos out there, isn't there? submitting golf clubs.
You were right. It was 800 in 2025.
Thank you very much.
It's because you were so adamant that when we played number 2, and you did you got to have a go at
You're right
Bryson,
tonight.
because the sprites hit me. You got to have a go at Bryson's bunker shot from the 2024 US Open, and luckily on the day, I'm sure they set it up for us to do that. It was the pin.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
I want to interrupt. Yeah.
And you were so adamant that it wasn't.
So what we'll do now is work for us.
Oh no!
I'm going to get an aerial map of that green.
Tom's going to do this.
I'm going to put.
You can speak to Tom about this.
Tom, what we're going to do, Tom, is we're going to get an aerial map of the green. We're going to pop up point A on the top, where the pin was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pop a B where I think it was, and then we're going to get people to vote in the comments where they think it was, and then we'll unveil it.
But we know where it was.
No, I disagree still. I entirely disagree, so we'll get to that. But
to head over to YouTube for that one if you're listening.
We hadn't planned to talk about any of this, but as we're talking about it now, we've done so much, haven't we?
So much. It's been a crazy few days. You'll be able to see a vlog of Joe doing number 2 whenever that comes out. We're going to try and do a whole vlogger this week, so we're not going to go into too much detail because we want you to go and watch that as and when it comes out, every nook and cranny, including Joe having a curry at the airport on the way here. So you get to see all of it, which is fantastic.
One more thing for the We Are a Gear podcast. It doesn't just extend to golf clubs. What about the shop at number 2? We're going back there tomorrow, aren't we? We've already spent a little.
We've got the lowdown from the man who runs the shop at number 10. There's a sort of outlet of Pinehurst goodies that I think we're going to do. It's raining all day tomorrow, so we're going to go and shop till we drop.
At Southern Pines, yeah, there's a little Pinehurst outlet. But yeah, some of the coolest head
got
covers,
nice merch.
engraved bag tags.
And pencils as well. I'm just fitting one in my pocket now, actually. Good tees in the starters hurt, good ball markers. You've got plenty of those.
I've done a lot of big hand grabbing on those first tees. I've
like
got tees for the next.
Claw.
Yeah, I've got tees for the next decade or so. So yeah, absolutely just astonishing so far. And we are drawing to a close. We've still got stuff on tomorrow. So yeah, what a cool place.
Good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed our coverage of it. Thank you to Golf Pride as well for having us out here. Of course, you'll hear their special grip podcast in the new year. Joe, it's time for us to pod.
Can I put my feet up?
Yeah, of course. Why not? Time for us to pod, and can I ask the first Ask the Pod this week?
Answer it or ask it.
Ask it, please.
Please do. Can you ask all of them?
I will ask all of them, but they're not all from me. This one's actually from me.
Okay.
I want to know, Joe, because I know you're testing on 2026 equipment.
Yeah.
I've not really been able to sit down with you and talk about it in detail yet. I've had passing anecdotal stuff from you. I basically want to know, with all those new releases coming out in January, what are the new clubs trying to knock off the pedestal, right? What are the best clubs that are currently in line now as we speak that are going to be replaced or have clubs battling next to them next year that are the best at the minute? What's the
benchmark?
Benchmark's a great word.
All right, let's start from the top then. Drivers. A nice little Escalade going past. Is that an Escalade? Is that what that's called?
Could be. It was big.
Starting from the top, driver. It's still... I think it's about to... I can say this, I'm pretty sure. I think it's about to be replaced, but the Ping G430 Max 10K...
We spoke about it already.
In that high MOI market, in the stable market. I'd love to see the newer version of that's going to be really interesting to see. But also, obviously, still a lot of the brands, from what I've tested so far, all people who haven't necessarily had that model in the arsenal, in the lineup before. A few have added that, so it's going to be really interesting to see what those manufacturers have done to answer what was and still is a quite extraordinary driver. So that, for me, maybe in the lower spin side of the driver market, it's becoming more and more apparent to me. GT3 seems to be the benchmark.
See it in one man's bag in a few minutes' time, aren't you?
Of course, yeah. Peter Finch, yeah. But again, tour use for contracted and non-contracted players. It just seems to be really hitting the spot with the better players in terms of that slightly more compact pear-shaped head. Plenty of forgiveness in what is a relatively low spin profile. It's just ticking a lot of boxes. The Titleist's first venture out of all titanium construction has been an absolute doozy.
And what's interesting is that will still be in line for them next year because they're on their 2-year release cycle. So that will still be going straight up against the new ones that we know are coming from TaylorMade, Callaway, Cobra, Mizuno, PXG, all of these ones that are bringing out, which is going to be really interesting benchmark for Titleist, I think.
I'll tell you one thing I did pick up today, and I won't say sort of how we picked this up, but if you want to test the acoustics of clubs, come to Pinehurst, because in those trees, the echoing, the rattling around, there's no hiding from a poor acoustic, as we found with a couple of your bats.
Well, I can talk about those in the new year because they're currently under embargo.
Well, I don't think you should, because that's a bit aggressive. I'm just saying that's a good testing spot. Let's not name names.
We're going to have to talk about it when those irons come out.
Okay, cool. But for now, yeah, what a great just acoustic enhancing spot.
Get that at places like what's a tree that I've played? Woking.
What's a tree?
Worplesdon.
Yeah, great.
Very
track.
echoey.
One of the hidden gems of the UK.
Good to crack a driver through there. Come on, fairways as well.
Fairways. You just cannot look past either the last 2 seasons of TaylorMade fairway woods. QI35 is a brilliant fairway wood. Didn't get as much airtime potentially as it should because so many people just weren't shifting from QI10 fairway wood. But so if anything comes out that is, I've heard some good stuff about one. No, can I? There's one that I'm excited to try. I've already tried one that is really good. One that I'm very excited to try from a brand that rhymes with Flowbra. I think that'll be a good one to try.
Good embargo dodging.
Didn't say it.
You didn't say it.
So I'm excited to try that. Irons wise, we're a bit broader, aren't we? Because it covers so many types and genres of irons.
Yeah.
But if I'm going in kind of the player cavity, sort of a neat lower handicap cavity, I still P7CB for me is exceptional. T100 has been really good. The whole Titleist lineup is very, very good. So if anything's getting close to or beating those in terms of the overall package of aesthetic, of feel, of consistency and things like that, then that's going to be really interesting to see. Hollow-bodied stuff, P790 still the daddy. It's just phenomenal. I'm trying to talk you into getting something with a little bit more pop, and I think that would be a really interesting place for you to start and have a look. T250, shout out Johnny Percival, our social editor, who's
tell everyone what he's done, because this is what we want you to avoid doing.
Yeah, this is consumer advice actually. So Johnny, one of our favourite blokes, isn't he?
We love Johnny P.
Top man, but what a fool. So he works in the golf industry, like heavily in the golf industry, heavily equipment focused, knows us very well. Could get hold of a lot of stuff with a bit of patience, but it's just on a whim purchased an off the rack set of Titleist T250s. That shows you how good the visual of the T250 is. It can turn a man insane.
He's have to buy it there.
He's just gone, yeah, I'll have that. It don't fit. He knows the importance of fitting. How much do we talk about this kind of stuff?
He listens to all these podcasts.
I know, because he has to edit them.
Exactly.
To an extent. And he's just gone off the rack, and he
off the rail.
He sits and looks at them home admiringly, but it takes him up the range and can't hit them for.
Was he struggling?
Yeah, and then I brought him into the simulator on the way back from a shoot at our new simulator in Reading. Just the sound's all wrong, the lie angle feels out, very light in swing weight, just not good. So he's now gone. This is something, again, probably worth mentioning. You can kind of retrofit this stuff. So I said, we can patch this together. I can get some lead tape. Let's get you to a decent swing weight. We can bend lie angle potentially here, but he didn't even know. He knew a little bit about the shafts, but didn't know whether they suited him. He had the dynamic gold AMT, so ascending mass stuff, so lighter in the longer irons, heavier in the shorter irons, just on a pure whim, just finger in the air. Those look great, I'll take those. And it's not gone well. So now he's got the expense of having a retrofit. I think he's gone to Custom Golf Works, just said, look, I need to come in here. If I need to buy new shafts, we need to bend them. I love the look. I just want them to work. So that's how good the visual of the T250
Shout out
is.
Titleist, yeah.
Good luck. You've just turned a very logical and sensible man balmy there. So well done to you guys. So check that out and be careful out there. Don't get mesmerised by these things. You've got to still make them right. Game improvement stuff. I was a big fan of the Callaway Elite iron just purely because of the visual again. I'd not seen a product in that market that was quite sophisticated from an aesthetic point of view. Strixon have done a great job already with their ZXi-R and ZXi-R-HL irons of... I fancied that Strixon would go pretty sophisticated and premium in their looks, and they have. There's obviously a bit more offset than you might see in a ZXi-7 or things like that, and a slightly thicker top line. But very sophisticated. That's one thing I did want to bring up actually before you took a sharp intake of breath there and tried to interrupt me again. It was that I want some manufacturers to stop making game improvement irons as default with heavy offset, because not every high handicapper hits a slice. Not every high handicapper right-handed loses it to the right. I play with plenty of prams who've got big pulls, and if you're adding an inch of offset like some of these guys do, allowing that club a little bit more time to rotate more. Where's the very forgiving club with minimal offset? That's something that I think needs to be out there.
Shout it, man. Echo it around the trees in Pinehurst. Let's get that trending as well. It's another one of our crusades that we're on at the minute. Yeah. What do you want to call that one? You got a snappy name for that?
No, I usually have an alliteration for that.
I got one. Oust the offset.
Oust the offset. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Do you though?
Kind of. And power sort of, not necessarily play a distance. The Ping i530 is an absolute rocket ship of an iron. If you're looking for pure distance with good feel and reliability, that's a rocket. So if you're someone who's desperately needing that sort of power boost, but maintaining nothing inconsistent and hot strikes, a reliable power boost, the Ping i530 is a fantastic iron. So if something comes out that's as hot and playable as that, yeah, it's going to be an interesting launch season. We've had a few bits and bobs filtering through. I had my first one actually that I've driver-wise I sent back, or I'm in the process of sending back. Ooh. I won't tell you the brand. Well, I'll tell you later. But I tried.
Did you not tell
they had two models. And the lowest spinning model I tried, wonderful, good data, felt great, looked great, was really pleased with that. And then I tried their core model, if you will, and set the same loft, same specs, used the same shaft. I was 5 miles an hour slower, whatever I did.
What?
4 to 5 miles an hour slower. So I'm convinced I've been, whether there's no visible crack, but
Something's defective.
Something isn't right there, because I did a good couple of hours trying to back and forth, and as soon as I went back to the first one, back up to like 171, 172, straight into the core model, 166, 167, like nutted 166, 167. So it was something I want to give them the chance to go again. So I just want to say, like, could you send me another model, because otherwise that review is going to come out and that's going to be dubbed the slowest driver of the year. So we need to have a look at this and give it a fair chance. So that's something interesting that came up from my testing. But yeah, I think that's about it if we just go and drive a fairway and irons, because I don't look after much else, do I?
That's good, but it's nice to have a rain check, and just look at what the clubs we're going to be hearing about in the next few months have to beat.
It's getting chilly, isn't it?
It is a little bit. Should carry on.
Yeah.
Crack on. We've got maybe 10 more minutes here, lads. Don't worry. Got some interesting questions. Do you remember, Joe? It's more of a comment than a question. Talking about, we were helping someone with vibrations in clubs, and you suggested as an option putting sand down the shaft, compacting it in, and that will help. Well,
plenty of sand where we played today. The sand mines at number 10.
it'd be great.
You could fill up all your bags, couldn't you?
On YouTube, srobin07, I tried at the sand down the shaft on the putter. Well, kind of. I used sugar.
I did read this.
Thoughts and feelings. Let me finish the comment actually first. Worked great.
My initial thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, go on. Crazy.
Great work. No, brilliant. If you can't find your sand, I don't know what the weight difference is, but obviously it's a similar principle. But I like what happened to this.
Well, he says it worked great. It was in an old Tel 3 Santa Fe.
TE11, I think they were.
Anyway,
no, it was TL. It stands for beryllium. It's basically the chemical. What do you call it? The periodic table. Is it the periodic table? It's the chemical
periodic
name
table
for
of elements.
beryllium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But instead of corking it, I used glue. I travelled to Spain to play a tournament, and the shaft got damaged. So I went to heat the shaft off the head and ended up caramelising the inside of the shaft.
He made a creme brulee out of his putter. That to me,
Must
that really
amazing.
tickled me when I read that. Yeah, imagine taking that to the repair. I hope he did that himself. Imagine taking that to the repair shop and the caramel drips out the shaft. That's a tough one to explain away, isn't it? I enjoyed that.
It's so interesting to know that people out there are doing stuff like that. Really, really tickled
I want to
me.
know. I can't remember the name of the fellow. I want to know how that's gone on. Because I felt that was a really good answer to his question, because he wanted more swing.
Vesh Kumar from Milton Keynes, but he wishes he wasn't in Milton Keynes.
I hope he's out of Milton Keynes as well, and I hope he tried that sand trick, and I hope it did the trick in both swing weight and vibration that we thought it might do. No sugar.
Sand sugar. Ken Morby's been back in touch. Ken, I keep mentioning him. It's like our one correspondent.
Kenneth.
But he says he was listening to the pod the other day when we mentioned the Ping Legality card. Thanks to my 50 seconds of fame, he's just been in a move round at work, and one of his new colleagues said, "Before we start, are you the Ken Morby off Kickpoint?"
Nah.
Yeah. Go on, Ken. Anyway, we wondered if he had a PeePee Man grip. Do you remember? Sorry,
yes.
A Ping Man grip.
Of course he did, right?
Of course he did. A bit hurt that you had to ask, but yes, I've got a PeePee Man putter grip. 5, actually.
5, of course. Do you black him out, Ken?
Oh, good question.
Get back in touch. No,
just get a WhatsApp group over weekend, because we're
going to set up a WhatsApp group, Ken.
Stephen Terrence has been in touch. Good afternoon, as a big truck pulls away over
truck, yeah, hello.
Good afternoon. I imagine your days... I don't understand this, Joe. Can you help me out with this? I imagine your days start with a morning of golf deep dives, followed by halloumi and zucchini frittata. Sounds like the perfect prelude to an afternoon of work. Does anyone know the context to that?
It's part of the way that big truck's coming. I think he's suggesting we're well-to-do...
Sort of vegetarians?
Yeah, maybe
you bring
woke.
that vibe across?
I don't know, yeah. I think you do, certainly. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That feels like it's
but we don't.
Like it's loaded.
We started this morning with a breakfast burrito.
Oh, heck, that was good.
Yeah.
If late. I have to say I really enjoy the show, but I've set myself a challenge for 2026. No new golf gear purchases. Joe's laptop needs to reset. Let's see if my willpower holds up. But your show's definitely going to put it to the test. That feels like a tough one.
Absolutely, yeah. No, terrible idea. There's
Buy,
loads of good
buy,
gear coming
buy.
out. Buy.
Sell.
It's keeping us in a job. Make this market move. Yeah, no, terrible idea. Awful
Keep the
resolution.
wheels turning of the economy, man.
Awful resolution.
I'm a self-confessed training aid enthusiast. Some might say collector. You boys would get on like a house on fire. Despite trying almost everything out there, improvement has proved elusive. My latest addition, the TRS slider, off of Robert Rock fame, and Liam Bond.
Yeah, co-produced, yep.
Lovely. Just arrived this morning. It got me thinking, is there such thing as the holy trinity of golf training aids? I'm considering combining a flat wrist trainer, the GEM golf aid or GEM golf aid, and the TRS slider for my at-home practice. Rest assured, I won't be creating any odd scenes at the range. In your opinion, is there an ideal combo of training aids that could genuinely help people, especially those practicing in private? Regards, Steve Terrence.
Steve, it feels to me, I'm picturing Tin Cup here. You know, when he goes on the range, he's just larruped up with every training aid, something on his head, bands around his legs. I'm picturing that.
Like a one-man marching band with all sorts kind of hanging off him.
On a serious note, it's dangerous ground. I think YouTube is a problem for this. So many people don't just go and see a pro who can ask questions, who can see your swing in real life and recommend individual things for you. So many people get all of their instruction from YouTube, and how on earth can you decipher off YouTube what's going to work for your game when people are just giving generic, like, we're all different, we're all built differently, we all swing differently, we all have different levels of mobility and things like that. So that's a seriously dangerous game for a start, and I think sounds like Steve's doing the same thing with training aids. He's just buying them all up, hoping to put them all at once, and that'll put him in the right place. And you could be, it could be doing some damage. For example, TRS is the slider is a great training aid, but if you're someone that's got that right arm pinned rigidly to the right side of your chest and you're lacking width and maybe robbing yourself of club head speed, you might want something that's gonna help you free that right arm from the body. If you're someone who's I would hope you're doing this responsibly and looking at certain traits in your swing and correcting them with the training aid you're buying. I hope there's some purpose behind this and some method to it, because it sounds like you're throwing a lot of stuff at the wall and hoping some of it sticks. So the answer, I think, to the question is there probably is a holy trinity of training aids, but it'll be a different trinity for each individual. Like for me, I don't know what mine is now. I think mine might be
after this week,
aspirin, vodka,
stronger, morphine,
arsenic, morphine. That might be my holy trinity at the moment. But yeah, the things that I've gone back to are obviously alignment sticks. I think that should be a prerequisite for most people to make sure. Obviously things don't get out of whack, because so many faults come from there. Scotty Scheffler's got his training aid, his grip trainer. Which obviously I talk about a lot. There's another training aid he uses back at home, I think, with his coach Randy Smith, where he has a stick coming out of the butt end of the club to help him figure out visually where he is on plane and not to get too across the line, which is one of his faults. But his 3 will be different, or 2, or his arsenal of training aids will be completely different to Xander's, to Rory's. So I think the key is there probably is a holy trinity for you, but go and seek some advice and find out what that is, and just do it to death. If there's one thing I picked up from Robert Rock, he's got fabulous hair, but aside from that, dress as well, really nice. But aside from that, he's been working on the same thing for about a decade. He's had the same setup of his practice, of his alignment sticks, working on that takeaway position, because he's figured out that is the absolute fundamental key to his golf swing. And he's just been grinding on that for a decade. Now, if Steve's anything like me, it sounds like he's grinding on a flat wrist on Tuesday. He's grinding on shallowing on Wednesday. He's trying to get a quicker release on Thursday. We were making love by Craig David reference for anyone not from the UK there. So yeah, I think you've got to be really careful, seek the right advice, and just nail down what's going to work for you.
That's good consumer advice, Joe.
Thank you, Dan.
We've had some good consumer advice this week.
We're absolutely on fire, Dan.
We're flying. It's time now, though, to pass on to this morning, where you met Peter Finch at the range at number 10 for a What's in the Bag. Now, though we know Pete's a Titleist guy and it's all Titleist clubs, stick around because he is one of the most informed men when it comes to equipment I think we've spoken to. Simply because he used to review it a lot, and from the research you did, and we've met him a few times now, he is a bit of a gearhead.
Yeah, he's well versed. I was looking back over his sort of history, and a lot of the products he's played over time I've played and I'm very familiar with. I think he, as I mentioned in this bit coming up, spoiler alert, I think he might be one of the spearheads for the lab. That was I saw you nodding away.
Did you see me nod when I was doing that? You were doing that. That was a good point.
Yeah, that's really kind of you to say, Dan. So, yeah, and for those who don't have the context, so obviously Pete did used to review clubs independently. He then decided to sign an exclusive staff agreement, I guess, with Titleist. So not only has he got that independent view now, he's got what it's like to be playing as a one brand man. He's also got the behind the scenes stuff where he's used their tour fitters like JJ, who's the PJ tour fitter, who's as good as it comes. He's the Adrian Rietveld of Titleist, for example. So he's got vast exposure to some really interesting people along with his own independent views, and he's a really nice guy as well, isn't he?
Lovely bloke.
You know, it's his first time I've met him this week, and he comes across great on his YouTube channel, but you never know, do you?
Oh no,
you never know
what do people think about us.
You're very different in real life, much ruder.
Let's pass on to Joe and Pete.
Right, good one for you today. Not only are we at the beautiful Pinehurst, we've got Peter Finch with us. We're going to take a look in your bag, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Why does every video start with a handshake, even though we've spent the last 4 days together?
Go again, it's double handshake.
Your hands are very warm, by the way.
Refamiliarised.
I'd say unusually warm.
Yeah, that's something, it's a cross I've had to bear, but let's not talk about that. Let's talk about equipment. So I was going to ask you, would you consider yourself an equipment nerd, a bit of a gearhead? But I've been watching some videos of you, and I think I know the answer to that. I think, yes, there's a secret gear nerd in there.
I mean, probably buried deep down, I want to know, certainly when I was reviewing clubs, I wanted to know a lot more. All I want to really know now is as much as I need to for me to be confident in what I'm using. It's probably the easiest way to say it. I think it's the same as anything, like you can go really deep down into the tech, but I think if you get fitted and you know that what you're using is correct for you, then I think that's probably as deep as you need to go. Like these clubs haven't really changed much this year, which for me is unusual. Yeah, I'm usually changing this bag twice a year if I was reviewing clubs. But now I'm more settled, I can just stick to what I know.
Did your focus shifted a bit then? Because obviously back when reviewing clubs, like you say, you need to know everything about everything.
Yeah.
You're focused a lot more on playing now, so I guess you want some continuity there. Because as a club reviewer, I'm playing different clubs every week, and it's very difficult, isn't it?
It's probably more, rather than worrying too much about the performance of the golf clubs, which I know is there, this is more worrying about my own performance, if that kind of makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes lots of sense.
Because I do worry. I'm a worrier.
And also, having watched the JJ video, your fitting video out at TPI, I think you can be pretty confident you're probably in good specs, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like that, it was an eye-opener in some respects, because I went over there with maybe some ideas about what I wanted, but it very quickly became apparent that, you know, they're much more knowledgeable than me. You know, it's never a nice revelation when you know and you realise you're thick. But when it does happen, I think it can be quite freeing.
I can empathise, Pete.
Yeah, you know this.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure everyone kind of watching or listening to this understands.
They're well aware of that, Pete. Yeah. Which end of the bag would you like to start with, Pete? Big or little?
I mean, I would say, we could start the top down.
Okay, let's start top down. There's a driver. We are in. So you came out, I remember seeing on the video, you came out of my favourite driver, the Ping G430 Max 10K, and now we're in a GT3, and you picked up a ludicrous amount of ball speed that I saw on this.
I mean, it was a bit of a weird one because I knew, obviously when I signed for Titleist, I kind of knew that switching into a different driver, but if I'm going to be honest, like almost any driver, I knew I was going to gain some ball speed. I knew I was going to gain some distance on the Ping. What the Ping was great for was I could literally just throw it at the ball, and I knew something was going to come out. No matter where on the face it was hit, it'd be okay. But during the testing and during the fitting for that GT3, I was able to keep it on the planet with my misstrikes, but then my good strikes with this club were just literally, we're talking like 20, 30 yards further. It's a big difference.
It was hot, wasn't it? I've seen some 180 ball speed. We played yesterday and I was surprised at the speed. I really was. It was very impressive. But so GT3, 9 degree, D1 setting, Tensei 1K black, 75 TX, so a little on the heavier side. Do you know why you ended up in something a little heavier, or are you just paying attention to JJ?
Yeah, so it's a little bit shorter as well. And it was kind of like the combination of I was swinging hard enough and hitting the ball far enough that I just wanted a tiny bit a tiny bit more control.
So for context, you cruise about, you're 120 guy really?
About 120, yeah, about 120. I'm not sure about today. I'd happy to top out at 100 today, if I'm being honest. But yeah, so around 120, and when I'm hitting it well and when I'm confident, I can swing a little bit quicker than that. But with a slightly heavy shaft, slightly shorter shaft, it's almost just reminding myself that I don't need to. You know, if I'm carrying it about 290, 300, like pretty much every course that I'm playing, even in comps, that's more than enough. I don't need to get any further than that. So it's just about then having a level of control.
So in terms of setup, from looking yesterday, it was pretty neutral ball flight. There wasn't too much movement left to right or right to left. You got it?
Yeah.
Do you like to see one shot or the other off the tee?
I've been trying to draw it a lot more this year. So I was always a fade ball flight pretty much all my life, and then this year switched to something a little bit more shallow. I just wanted to see a draw because I couldn't really hit a draw that consistently. And with the driver, it's still a little bit tricky. Like I feel I hit a draw with my driver, and what actually comes out is a relatively straight ball flight.
Yeah.
If I want to fade it, then that's fine. But getting that pure draw, I'm still not quite there yet.
Well, they're all tough. Like you don't see many slingers off the tee, do you? Full stop at a high level. There's not many people who can get modern drivers turning over hugely that I've seen.
It kind of depends. I mean, again, it depends on equipment, depends on ball, like how much spin you're generating. But also, I think what you'll find is a lot of the most consistent drivers certainly fade it. But if you want to be able to still produce the best numbers, you have to be able to get shallow, you have to be able to hit up. And that's always a lot easier for me when I'm kind of in my draw swing feeling. And then you look at like some of the best drivers in the world, you know, your Rorys, your Brysons, and so on. Like the longest drivers will generally still draw it.
Yeah, sure. So GT3's been a bit of a unicorn. We see it so many bags out on tour, whether it's Titleist players or non-contracted players. What do you think it is? It's just, to me, profile's very player friendly, and it just does the business numbers well, isn't it?
I mean, Titleist drivers have always been a little bit classic. Like if you're a good player, like a Titleist driver just looks nice behind the ball. But this one for me was slightly different. Like GT3 head shape is more geared towards your better golfer. However, on the poor strikes, it's still really good, especially out the heel. Like the toe, you get a bit more of a draw, which is usual. But out the heel, it's class.
And grips wise, so we're here, actually, spoiler alert, we're here on our Golf Bride trip, so you've got some Z grip Aligns on here,
yes.
I've noticed. Going back through your grip history, you've tried a few bits and bobs, haven't you? So you're using Jumbo Max for a while, super thick. How long were you in those? What was that experiment like, and how have we ended up back here?
Well, I had, like a few years ago, I had really bad kind of wrist issues, and I don't think it's based on any actual evidence, but a lot of people were saying, you know, thicker grips do kind of help mitigate any kind of wrist injury. So Bryson was using them at the time. I used a grip which wasn't quite as thick as his, but it was still really, really beastie. And I used them over the course of the year. I didn't particularly play any better, but my wrist injuries seemed to kind of dissipate over that time. Now I've gone back to a more standard conventional grip for this year, still jumbo size, in Golf Pride, just a tall velvet, and the wrist injuries have stayed away.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was just timing, I don't know if it was just more of a look thing, but in that point where I switched to the thicker grips, I definitely felt better within my wrist. So,
have you ever had much of a preference? Obviously, the Align Max there has got a very prevalent rib down the back. Between round and rib grips, are you someone who's sensitive to that, or are you? So
I started to use this year, I used the putter grip, which had a really heavy ridge on the back, like an unusually heavy ridge. And I just liked the way that it felt. I liked the fact it felt like I could square the club up a lot easier.
Okay.
So then I tried a few of the Align Max clubs, and they were really good as well. I just felt quite comfortable. So it's just more of a feeling, and I think going into next season, I'm going to use it a little bit more. I mean, I've got the Z on these at the moment, but I think I might go for maybe the Align Max as well, because at the moment these are only in mid-size. It's got a few extra layers under, so I think when the jumbo comes out, I'll probably switch into that.
Question for you, I don't know how you find this, when you go down into the wedges, we see a lot of guys, like Xander's a guy who goes Align Max through the bag and then gets the wedges and goes round. Scheffler's the same, because when you're opening and closing face, feeling that ridge, is that not something that bothers you?
Not really. I mean, I look at it as almost a, if I've got that alignment ridge in the back and I open up the club face, which is generally what you're going to be doing with your wedges, if anything, opening up that club face, and if I feel that ridge kind of running a little bit more to the left of my left hand, then that's actually quite good for me, because I feel like I know it's in that right position.
Calibrating how open
exactly,
it is.
Exactly, yeah. So that's the way I'm kind of looking at it, and I just like the idea of playing the same club, same grips throughout. the bag. I don't want to switch and change too much on feel.
Makes good sense. I just skipped ahead there to hybrid. So what are we calling this? We're not calling it a mini drive. We've got our GT280, 13 degrees.
It's GT280 mini driver, and this has been, I think this has been my favourite club this year. It's just so good. There you go, club review.
Great,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Thank
You're
you. Nice
welcome,
to meet Finch, everybody.
Put that on a
Why
t-shirt.
did you get out of reviewing?
I did find out my vocabulary was lacking
Struggling for words.
when it came to certain clubs. So I looked at my stats last season, and I'm pretty sure it was only 5 times that I hit my 3-wood.
Oh wow!
In the year, like throughout comps. Now I'm not playing full seasons on tour, but it was still a lot of rounds, and to only hit it 5 times, it was a bit of a wasted club.
Correct.
I love my hybrid, so I didn't want to change that. So I was like, well, what's going to fit in that gap? There's no point doing 5-wood, that's not going to change anything. And since I put the mini driver in, I've used it loads. Like, it's a great option off the tee, and I can still hit it off the fairway. And it's just class. It just feels
what are
so
you
good.
carrying that, do you think?
So, like, my full driver, I'm getting about 290. So this is about 270.
Okay.
But I can get a little bit more out of it if I want to. And I can also kind of hit this beautiful little kind of 250 cut as well if I really want.
Squeezy little cut.
So it's a club which has, I've got like 3 or 4 different shots I can play with it that I know and I'm confident with, and that's kind of all I'm really looking for.
Setup wise, so we are basically same driver sharp at 85 grams, the TX, the 1K black. Is that something you've always done? Do you like to match feels of shafts as well?
Yeah. I don't. Again, it's one of those things where, you know, shaft heads might get a little bit more into this than me, but I kind of feel if there's something that I like and the shaft is of a good quality, there's no reason why I can't use that, like, throughout the top end of my bag. I could get into the minutiae of it a little bit more, but I just don't think it's necessary. And the guys at Tyler's again fitted, as I said, yeah, numbers are great, so yeah, just trust it.
So why mess with it? So talking of the hut club you love, you hit this a lot yesterday, round number 2.
Yeah, it's class.
Little GT3, 19 degrees, C4 setting, so we're just going progressively up in weight as we go shorter in shafts, so the 95 hybrid shaft, then the 1K black. Just from what I saw yesterday, you can do a bit of everything with this, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, I used to hate hybrids. Like, I just didn't understand them. I didn't get them. But then I used a TaylorMade one last year, and I had a KBS. I think it was like I want to say it was 100 and
The 105.
it's 105.
Yeah, the Proto, the red band.
Yeah, it's the one that Ron was using.
Yeah.
And it was just effectively a hybrid, but it just had the stiffest shaft, heaviest graphite shaft kind of possible, carbon shaft. Sorry, and I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. So when I switched into the Titleist, I was like, I just want to find something
Replicate this.
which can do this job. And the GT3 has just done that, and it's just great. I love it. I mean, there's very few clubs in the bag which I could tinker with and I could change, but that's not going anywhere.
Have you been tempted, obviously, because the contract you signed with Titleist and being essentially a Titleist staff player, the places you can go, the people you've got access to, the tour, that it's like sweet shop stuff for people watching this as well, right? You've been very disciplined to not mooch about too much, right?
Yeah, so something I found with, and again, it might sound like an absolute dream, and in many respects it is, but if you're like a staff player, tour player, and the guy's on tour, like, what you'll notice about their bags is the consistency, and they very rarely switch. Like, they'll only switch into something if there's a big problem or there's a very specific need. And usually that changes a great deal. Like, these guys play week in, week out. Consistency is what matters. And you don't really want to be introducing a variable that you don't control straight away. So for me, having the consistency of the clubs is going to be key kind of moving forward into the comps, because I just want to know what I'm doing with each one. I don't want to guess too much anymore.
No surprises is a good thing in equipment generally, isn't it? So then we go into the irons, and T150s, that was a surprise to me. So what was the thought here? So 4-iron through to pitching wedge at 44 degrees. Why T150 over T100? Is it a loft thing, a launch thing?
It was, so what I really did, so obviously if you're playing with slightly stronger lofts than conventional, you say, the worry is you're going to have a lack of spin. Like, you might get a bit more launch, for example, on some clubs, but for me, we tested these, and again against just a normal T100s, numbers wise were very similar. Very similar. I didn't drop off much spin.
Okay.
So I was kind of like, well,
gained a bit of pop.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, well, why don't I just play something which is probably a little bit more forgiving as well? And yeah, we just kind of netted out on that. I've got to be honest, I kind of wanted, again, I went into the fitting and I was trying to
620 MBs.
Oh, no, the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I had the T200 iron. I love the T200 iron.
The T250, the new one.
Well, at the time, it was like the T200.
Oh, right, okay,
kind of
cool. Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was just, I loved it. I loved the feel. I loved the look. I loved everything about it.
Did you not have the 4 iron of that for a little while?
Yeah. But the problem is the distance. So you get a T200 in my hands with a 7 iron, and I can get that like 200 yards. It's a redundant kind of set in many respects, unless I can carry up those distance gains as we get into the woods. So, but I just love the feel, I love the look, I love the forgiveness.
Yeah.
So I was trying to convince everybody that I'd create an iron swing, or I'd be swinging like 10 miles an hour slower.
Trying to convince everyone, or trying to convince yourself?
Everybody, yeah. I just love the idea of like slowly turning into like an old man golfer.
Yeah.
Like just massive heads.
Graduating into some 70-gram graphite
Yeah,
shafts.
exactly. Just little Monty swings,
Yeah.
just like pap it down there. That's my dream. Really.
Didn't work out.
No, they said I've been an idiot. So
Been going too quick. Okay, and then so X100 Dynamic Gold Tour issue. This is our like North Star of every what's in the bag we do.
Yeah.
Dynamic Gold X100 Tour issue. Do you somebody who graduates down softer in the wedges, or do you go X100 throughout?
what I really loved about the Titleist fitting was like they said, they would basically say, do you have a preferred shaft? And I played X100s really pretty much all throughout when I was a junior. And then when I was like messing around with club fitting over the past few years, when I've been doing reviews, I was trying out all these different shafts, and got fitted into a variety of different ones. But when I went to the Titleist fit and said, do you have a preferred shaft? I said, well, X100, that's what I've always used. And I said, okay, cool, we'll build around that. Because it's like, if you know a feel, you know what you like, we don't need to mess around.
Do you know what? We've heard that a lot. We did a thing with Trotty out of the Kingdom,
Yeah.
and he was not playing down the shaft element of it, but he said that's the last thing we tend to look at in a fit with really good players, because it's just a feel and timing thing. If they're used to something, that's going to work in something else. And if you actually want to make tangible changes to flight and launch and spin, click of a wrench will do that just like that.
Like shafts can make a difference. They can, and you can have experiments and you can play around and you can see which one's going to work best for you. But like I said, if you can have something which you're comfortable and confident with, that's more important really in this respect. And like X100s, I just know what I'm going to get.
Cool. So down into the wedges, relatively strong pitching wedge at 44. Is that playing 44? Do you know?
Yeah. So I'm effectively going from a pitching wedge at 44 into a standard, this is 49 degrees, the wedge.
Sorry, I missed this
wedge.
out. I was thinking there was something in between there.
So I've kind of got, as far as like traditional lofts go,
Yeah.
I've kind of almost got two kind of pitching wedges.
Yeah.
The pitching wedge in the 44 degree, that's creeping towards more of a 9-9 kind of traditional loft. So I've stuck another gap wedge in there as well. So, I mean, it depends how you think about your iron and your wedge makeup. For me, I don't think about my iron so much as it's a 7 iron, it should go this distance, it should be this loft. I've just got a variation of different lofts.
Yeah.
And as I get to my wedges, I've got that nice little bit of gapping now. So.
Okay, cool. So fairly standard full sole grinds, 48, 10F, 54, 14F, so quite a high bounce. Then we've got, so we're chrome in the two lower lofted wedges, and then into a raw in the lob wedge.
Yeah,
we're blending aesthetics here, Pete. Talk me through that.
There's nothing really to it. They just gave me a raw.
Happened.
They just gave me a raw in the 60, and I was kind of like, yeah, okay, cool. I kind of like the look of it.
We've got a ding here, Pete.
Oh mate, I've got dings all over the place. Oh, I don't know. I've hit off a lot of cart paths this year, so it's not a massive surprise. Yeah, this one's kind of mashed up on the bottom. But.
So 60 V grind. So, talk me through the wedge fitting process with you with Vokey.
Again, it was one of those where I had a pretty conceived notion of what I wanted. I wanted pretty standard with the kind of grind, pretty similar bounce angle. But then again, they took me through the whole kind of fitting process, and yeah, this is what came out, and this is what was recommended. So
Perfect.
again, I just trusted what they said.
Feels like you've got the right people. Let's finish on the flat stick. Before we get to that, I think you might be one of the pioneers of the lie angle balance movement. You're one of the first people.
Yeah.
Full out there, rocking that DF. 2.1 was it?
Yeah. When that all came out, and when we were the first to try it, there was me. I was one of the first. There's a few others. I think Rick kind of reviewed them a little bit later. But when those reviews came out, like Lab just went massive. And it's not just me saying this, like, you know, I've spoken to the guys at Lab as well, and they say it was an absolute game changer for them. It really kind of got them going. Didn't get a commission for it.
Yet. We'll pass it on to Sam.
Thanks.
We'll see how that goes.
But I think, honestly, it was a weird moment because I was chatting to him at the Open. It wasn't this year, was it Troon? I think it was at Troon. And I knew and I know that the videos that we make have a certain amount of influence, you know, that's where the name comes from, I suppose. But that was maybe the first time where I was like, oh, I'm being told about a real, tangible, huge difference to a small company, which is now going to be in a really big company. And obviously they've done the work to get to that point, but it was kind of nice to review a product, really enjoy it, and to see the success that they've had.
How did that make you feel? Does that make you feel sort of a sense of responsibility or pride or what?
A little bit. I think it made me feel a bit more conscious of some of the, because obviously when you're doing reviews, I think it's easy to be a bit flippant about some things, and not just clubs, but balls and everything, and to kind of try and understand that actually there is a company behind that, and behind that company there are people, and these things actually might make more of a difference than maybe I would have thought. So it was a nice moment to just reflect and be like, okay, this is probably more than what I thought it was. So yeah.
Okay. So flat stick at the moment. Actually, one more before we get into that. I keep thinking of stuff I remember seeing you playing. P2 grips. I was a big P2 grip man.
Yeah.
With the messed up core. Messed up core is probably a bit harsh. Getting you more in on the deviation, higher hands. I was a big fan of that. You rocked that for a little while.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, listen, I'll try anything.
I've noticed because back at our cottage at number 8, Pete's got, how many putters you brought with you, Pete?
I've only brought 4.
Only 4. Four this week. Also, you've been re-gripping them. You've been cutting them down. What's been going on?
However, this is because of I want some kind of consistency again. So again, the grip I was using putter-wise for most of this year was a 2-thumb, not a 2-thumb, but they had a variation of like a, it was kind of like a no taper, kind of heavy ridge along the back.
Yeah.
It almost to the point where it felt like it was an error in design.
Okay.
Like it felt too sharp, and it felt the ridge was too much. But I started putting with it, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I could square this up so easily. And now the Golf Pride have got the kind of pro only, and it's the same thing. So what I've done is I've taken the 4 putters, I've cut them to 33, which is the preferred length I like, and I've put the same grip on every single putter, so I can have a level of consistency with that.
So you've got your squad, they're all set up identical.
Exactly,
right?
because I'm so happy with how that Golf Pride grip feels. I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to stick to this.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep it, I'm going to be consistent with it, and I'm going to kind of get set. Even before next year begins, I already know kind of what the putters are going to feel like in my hands. So I'm open to like changing potentially the head shape, but no, that grip stays.
Have you tried any of the Scotty Cameron, the sort of, not zero torque, the low torque putters that they've just released?
Yeah, so I was having a lesson with Phil Kenyon this year. I'm not sure when this is coming out, 2025. And
we've got a very slow edit.
Yeah, so if you're watching this in 2027, thank you for watching the channel. It was great. It was great while I was here, but I'm in a better place. And the kind of lesson was all about alignment, and it was an incredible lesson actually. If you want to check it out, it is on my channel, and it's one for real nerds. But it was almost like a 4-hour lesson, and we spent all of that time, not all of it, but pretty much all the time, on body positioning, alignment, where my eyes were, how I was perceiving putts. And it became pretty clear that the way I look at putts and the way I see lines, it's so much better when I have quite clean front edge, nice solid alignment, but also I was aligning this style of putter better than I was like a zero torque style of putter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on where the face is relative to shaft forward and back.
Yeah. And I've tried all the Scotty stuff, and I do like them, but I think I've been putting with this style of putter now, mallet, for the most of this year, and you know I'm happy with that feel.
It's like you stuck here because I'm pretty sure this is the one you came out with in the video.
Yeah, so I've been using a couple of different styles, again, mostly based on what the alignment aid is. This is the putter I was using kind of like during Open qualifying and most of my comps this year. So I'm confident and happy with it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to experiment with a bit of a longer line on my second putter. So
perfect. Right, finally, ball. What we in, Pete? Tricks on.
Pro V. Pro V, straight down. No left dash, no Pro VX, just a Pro V.
Based on what? Softer feel?
Softer feel, just a bit more distance, slightly lower flight. So when I get the X, I can smash it, but I'm hitting the ball a lot higher this year, and the X was just a bit too much. So Pro V I can just control a little bit more.
Perfect. Well, that is really interesting looking at your bag. Sorry for taking up so much of your time. Go well today, Pete. Pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well done, Joe. I enjoyed that very much. I stood behind the camera there, as you said, nodding away.
Great camera work. Some of his angles, phenomenal.
I hope so. Not seen it yet.
Neither have I. Made that up. Thanks for covering.
So thanks to Pete for joining us. Another good interview from yourself there, Joe. Right, it's getting cold. We're going to the Pinehurst Brewery, I believe, this evening.
Aren't we
For a
just?
few scoops.
Why not?
So for now, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your comments as always, and allowing us to do stuff like this. Because if you weren't listening, we wouldn't be here. There's a massive bus. Massive bus
sort of
might come and...
the lighting may have just changed because we've just been full beamed. I'm now blind.
I'm bland. It's time to go now,
Stopping
isn't it,
in.
Joe?
Kick point. Could be kick point fans. Hold the line, caller.
It's Ken Morgan.
Ken! How are you, son?
Right, we're back on Monday for Tour Issue. We'll see you then.
Oust the offset.